So if Obama was leading from behind and Trump was just, I'm just going to do my own thing, right? We're America, guys. You have to adjust to us. So Biden is going to be some sort of a triangulation of that, which is kind of leading side by side. First of all, I have too much problems at home. I cannot project power the way you want me, which I think is completely reasonable, and it's in tune with the will of the American people, not the punditry in America. All the surveys are very consistent. Americans want focus on American problems, and I think a strong internal America is strong for the world. So we want America to deal with its own mess, right? Because if you're messed up, that's not good for the international system, right? Europeans, the Japanese, South Koreans, the Chinese have all made 2050 or 2060 kind of carbon zero commitments already. Like they have moved on. Like Trump, no Trump, we're going to move forward. So it's a matter of US catching up, really. And China has twice the emission levels of United States. So, US is very important. They have to be part of the conversation. And I believe under a kind of a Green New Deal, or maybe a moderate version of that can be acceptable to Republicans. I think if you add a national security element to this, like we need renewable energy security, I think the Republicans, enough of them could buy into that. I mean, if Biden is skilled, he can bring a bipartisan consensus, again, a kind of a green industrial strategy, which obviously America needs, obviously Rust Belt needs now that they have slightly tilted towards Democrats. All ASEAN reason for bringing their own idea of Indo-Pacific, because they felt this is kind of too Cold War-ish. So our idea is like, hey, China is our neighbor. Whether we want it or not, we have to deal with these guys the way we have been dealing before you imperialists from the West came over for thousands of years, right? So don't give us this kind of anti-China Indo-Pacific. Let's do an inclusive Indo-Pacific whereby we can have a Goldilocks approach of kind of do unilateralism plus push back against China. And at the same time, on some areas when China can actually help us, let's cooperate, because China also has an interest against terrorism, for instance. They're worried about what's happening, among, of course, the disaffected Uyghur community. Right? China has excess capacity in green technology. I love to help a little bit, the region. China is also looking for developing new markets or pushing some of the more lower-end manufacturing or medium-end manufacturing to Southeast Asian countries, including Vietnam. So China has a stake, actually, in a stable and prosperous Southeast Asia. Now, the debate is that stable, prosperous, and Chinese proxy, or stable, prosperous, and a certain degree of autonomy. And of course, the latter is our preference. And I think that's where Biden administration could be helpful by not having this kind of a messianic complex. This is going to be back to the Obama days, is Obama 3.0. There's no going back. The world has moved on, right? In the past 4 years, so much has changed. But doesn't mean China has dominated the game. It just means that more and more countries are having their own independent ideas of how to move forward. Let's just admit it. The US has been, similar to the British Empire at one point in time, has been riding on the momentum of historical anomaly, right? And that historical anomaly was after Second World War, suddenly the US is half of the global GDP. I mean, that was, it was inevitable for America to have a degree of hegemony for quite some time. And I think now we're coming to terms with the fact that that was the American exceptionalism, the exceptionalism of American global leadership. And now we're going back to some sort of normalcy.